Every year in all sports leagues, the draft is one of the most important and anticipated days of the season. Teams patiently await their turn to select a player that could potentially be the next cornerstone of the franchise, and this year in the NBA is no exception. In today's video, we're going to be comparing Victor Wembanyama to LeBron back in his draft year to see if we can determine which of these two is the best NBA prospect. Moreover, where do we think Wembanyama is going to end up? How ugly can the tank race in the NBA get this season? Stick around because any real NBA fan wouldn't want to miss a second of this video. Who is in the NBA tank race and how ugly is it gonna get? And we've already mentioned, many sports leagues have a race to be the best team in the league and a race to be the worst team in the league. Obviously, the worst team in the league has the best odds in the draft lottery, the system in which the team who gets the honor of drafting first overall is decided. This year, we are in for a doozy of a tank race because the reward for winning the draft lottery this year is potentially the best draft prospect since the king himself, LeBron James. While every team in the league could benefit from Wembanyama's services, there are a few teams who desperately need a high draft pick to help them arise from the ashes. The teams in the race right now are the Houston Rockets, Charlotte Hornets, Detroit Pistons, San Antonio Spurs, and the Orlando Magic, with the Wizards, Thunders, and Raptors potentially in the mix as well. The race as it stands right now is already pretty ugly, with 4 of the bottom 5 teams all failing to register 15 wins at the halfway mark of the season. While that's not particularly unusual, the biggest issue is that teams above the bottom 5 are all feeling their urge to crumble as far as possible due to the draft being so strong this season. Teams are highly encouraged to trade away any of their expiring assets in order to secure the most draft capital, combined with losing as many games as possible in order to better their draft odds. That means we could see the bottom 10, even bottom 12 teams throw away their chance to make the playoffs in order to secure their chances at a stronger draft pick. The NBA has attempted to remedy the need to tank by adding in the play-in round that gives teams on the fringe of the playoffs a chance to make the playoffs. And once a team gets in, you never know what can happen. However, this year is different. The last 5 first overall picks dating back to the 2018 NBA draft are DeAndre Ayton.
He gets across the lane with the left hand, not there, but the emphatic follow, down it goes.
Zion Williamson.
Nice screen going at it. He's going to the line of the brush and the bump by Gobert.
Anthony Edwards.
Of drop coverage, especially when you have, oh my goodness, Anthony Edwards.
Cade Cunningham.
To Isaiah Stewart. Cade for 3, and it's through! Cade Cunningham!
And Paolo Banchero.
Paolo, the Magic's great rookie. 2 defenders are there, and he just overpowered.
While the past 5 picks have all been capable NBA players, only Zion Williamson has been the team-altering player that has essentially single-handedly turned around the Pelicans franchise.
Trying to beat McDaniels. He got him that time, but Gobert makes no difference. How high off the rim?
However, this year is different. This year, whoever selects first overall might be getting the next generational player. Will Wembanyama cause teams to find a pull-the-plug moment? As we have already mentioned, Wembanyama is going to cause teams to make a decision at some point in the season. As of right now, the top 20 teams actually have a pretty good chance of making the playoffs, thanks largely in part to the play-in round that has recently been added to the league. The bottom portion of the league, apart from the bottom 8 teams, are truthfully not too far from a 500 record. In fact, 16 teams in the NBA are only 3 games away from a 500 record, meaning that the vast majority of the teams in the league are closer to a playoff berth than being a competitive team in a tanking race. This could mean that a great deal of the teams in the league may feel more compelled to actually go for a playoff spot than go for the first overall pick. However, the first 2 picks, Wembanyama and Scoot Henderson, have put on quite the display thus far in their college seasons, and they make it very difficult for teams that have a chance of drafting them to not do so. So while many teams are currently in the hunt for a playoff spot, eventually these 2 players are going to draw teams closer and closer to tanking, and will eventually cause a spike in teams deciding that the hope for a playoff spot is dead. Think about it. Yes, the bottom of the league is right now more competitive than usual. However, there's going to be a time in which teams have to face reality and see what coming in the bottom 10 is not only easier and more realistic, but it is actually much more advantageous for their team in the long run. Eventually, we're going to see a monumental collapse for the bottom half of the league as the tank race becomes more real. But there's one major hiccup in the tanking plan for a few teams. For starters, the San Antonio Spurs, who are currently the 4th worst team in the league, have 2 picks in the first round, their own and the first round pick from the Hornets. And while it is the top 16 protected, it does essentially take a first round pick out of the running for trading. Moreover, the Jazz, who are now only 2 seasons removed from being the number 1 seed in the West, traded 2 of their former superstars for 7 unprotected picks in the first round over the next few years, including 3 in the upcoming draft. The Jazz themselves are actually in a pretty decent spot, being 17th overall and 9th in the Western Conference. They also have the Minnesota Timberwolves first-round pick with no protection, and they have the least favorable first-round pick between the Nets, 76ers, and Rockets. Of course, the Rockets will likely finish bottom 3, so they will not be getting that pick, and the Nets will likely finish top 3, meaning they are most likely getting the pick from the Nets. But once again, despite the Jazz potentially making the playoffs, they could still find themselves in the draft lottery, and will most likely keep all 3 of their picks in the first round, once again taking some picks out of the trade pool. Long story short, because of a few teams hold multiple picks, it is unlikely many first-round picks in 2023 will be traded away, as these teams will want to hold as many picks as they can. Moreover, teams that have traded their picks away will be doing all they can to make sure they make the playoffs to ensure that they don't throw away this season. For example, the Lakers are not in a playoff spot right now, and they do not have their first-round pick, meaning that they will not be joining the tank race, even if they're not in a position to guarantee a playoff spot. In fact, they will likely do everything they can to make the playoffs, which includes trading away future assets for assets that can improve their team right now. Because once the Lakers and LeBron make it to the big dance, anything is possible, as playoff LeBron is a whole different beast, and maybe soon Wembanyama will be the same. Is Wembanyama the best prospect the NBA has since LeBron? Wembanyama has teams in a tizzy hoping that they will be the ones to draft him, and with good reason. Wembanyama has recently measured in at 7'4" barefoot and has an 8-foot wingspan. This allows him to defend around the rim with relative ease, and it also allows him to dunk over people like they are pylons. The NBA is already prepared for Wembanyama to slide right into the league and dominate, sort of like another first overall pick that shook up the league back in the early 2000s. LeBron James was hyped up beyond belief before his draft year, and Wembanyama is getting the same treatment. But has he earned it? Offensively, he is incredible. He is a smooth jumper and has a great shot, making him a threat from anywhere on the court, and is able to generate offense off the dribble with ease. He will be the centerpiece of the offense for whichever team drafts him, and he will also be a responsible defender, making him the total package. He is being compared to Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Rudy Gobert, making him a combination of the 2 best scorers in the league, as well as one of the best defenders in the NBA. Not a bad company to be compared to, right? If these comparisons are to be believed, then he is a freak hybrid of 2 of the most lethal offensive players the league has ever seen, and one of the most responsible defenders in the league, which would then make him the best prospect not only since LeBron, but since Kobe Bryant or even Michael Jordan. We're not comparing someone who has never played in the league to those legends, but it is clear that Wembanyama is a special player, and he may just end up being a top 10 player in NBA history by the time his career is over. So is he the most highly touted prospect since LeBron? Of course. He may not be as good as LeBron when his career is over, but it is clear that he is the most sought-after prospect the NBA has ever seen since the King. If Wembanyama can convert his skills to the NBA, then he certainly has a chance of being the best player the NBA has ever seen, and that is no exaggeration. Keep your eyes on this player because you may be watching history in the making. That's all we have for you guys today on the channel. Thank you all so much for tuning in. What do you think of the tank race? Let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to leave a like on the video and to subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this one. We hope you enjoyed the content, and we'll see you all in the next video.